So, Overwatch 2 is finally out, and after playing it for the last few days, I wanted to have a deeper look into whether this deserves to be called a fully fledged sequel or just a glorified update. Now to do this, I'm going to look at three aspects from the game: the actual gameplay, the free-to-play model, and the main campaign. Let's get into it. It's no secret that Overwatch 2 is essentially the same game as Overwatch 1 was. When 2 was first announced, they even said cross-play between people playing both games would be possible, proving this was always their intention. Things clearly changed in development though, as now Overwatch 1 has been shut down and Overwatch 2 is the only option. So what's new? Well, to start with, games have moved to a 5v5 structure instead of the classic 6v6, meaning a team now consists of 2 damage dealers, 2 supports, and only 1 tank. On top of the loss of a tank from the team, barriers have also been made weaker across the board in order to stop people from stalling in choke points, and to encourage a faster paced gameplay. Honestly, as someone who's most played hero as Reinhardt, I was concerned by both of these changes, but having played it I have to say it feels absolutely fine. Every hero in the game has had some sort of adjustment to fit them into this game, and tanks got the biggest adjustments of all, with main tanks getting some more damage and off tanks being given more mitigation to compensate for the fact that they are now the only tank. The result is you can go into a match and pick almost any hero and find they play slightly differently than they did in the first game, whether it's just a damage number change like with Reaper's shotguns, a playstyle change like with Sombra being able to hack people while staying invisible, or an entire kit change like Orisa, who shares nearly nothing with her Overwatch 1 counterpart. Three new heroes have also joined the roster, with Junker Queen, the tank, Sojourn in DPS, and Kiriko in support, although Kiriko has controversially been locked behind a battle pass. There are also some new maps and even a new mode, Push, which works like Payload but with both teams trying to push a robot to the enemy base. It's worth noting that we also lost the game mode Assault, which had you capture 2 points one after another. Now, it's possible they tested Assault in the new 5v5 games and found it just didn't work, or even that they were looking at removing it in the first game. All I know is that I have some really good memories of close games in Assault, and it's a shame to lose the quality maps from the main rotation. The question here really is whether everything added has been enough to consider this game a sequel. At first glance, I think the changes do seem pretty significant, but I can't help but look back at the fact that Overwatch 1 hadn't gotten an update in over 2 years. It almost feels like you could spread all the new content updates I've just mentioned over those 2 years and have a completely natural release schedule. It's like Blizzard put Overwatch 1 through an artificial drought just to make Overwatch 2 feel more bountiful. The change to a free-to-play model is in my opinion the biggest loss when moving from Overwatch 1 to the current game. While it's been nice to play Overwatch with friends who weren't previously interested in buying the game, there are aspects I'm almost embarrassed for them to see. By the way, I'm not talking about the fact that new players can't play every character right away and can't go straight into competitive. I'm completely fine with those changes. It encourages people to try everyone as they unlock them and deters smurfs, which in a free-to-play game is important. What I am talking about is the fact that it takes over 30 weeks to buy a single legendary skin. And even that's only possible if you complete every single weekly quest every single week. If you don't want to play for that long, they very graciously offer it for paid currency, although be prepared to drop up to £20 on a single skin, for a single hero, in a game with over 30 heroes. Now obviously skins aren't all that important in the game, they won't make you play any better, they don't give you any competitive advantage, but none of that's really the point. I really enjoyed booting up the game on the first day of an event, and before even playing the new mode, I just scrolled through the new items. I could then buy anything I wanted immediately with the in-game currency I'd been collecting, and get whatever else I got out of the loot boxes. It's not at all the same feeling as just checking a shop every week to see what I can buy with real money. The Battle Pass is also a weak replacement for the progression we had before. I'm not particularly against Battle Passes in general, I think they're a decent way to incentivize someone to come back and keep playing a game for that season. The main thing for me though is that they need to feel rewarding, and this one just doesn't. The main offender is that you get 0 paid credits back at any point during the paid Battle Pass, which I feel has become somewhat of a staple in Battle Passes. It just feels like a win-win. Players get their money back and can buy the next Battle Pass basically for free, and Blizzard would get players actively trying to get to the end of the Battle Pass for the whole season. As someone who hasn't bought the Battle Pass, the free rewards are pretty rubbish too. It's just a bunch of icons and some skin recolours. Oh, and as I mentioned earlier, the new character has to be unlocked in the Battle Pass. I'm barely even going to cover this because there's no way this carries on for more than a couple seasons. Playing new heroes and fitting them into your team comp was always such a highlight of the game, so the idea that some heroes will be locked out until you either play or pay enough is a joke. To sum it all up, this feels very similar to the artificial drought point from last section. This all reeks of a company that has intentionally released a subpar product, just to change it down the line once people have complained to make it look like they listen. I just think it's a shame how often this happens and how often it works. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty short section. When the campaign of Overwatch 2 was announced, this had me 100% on board and excited to get the game. To me, this was like going from Titanfall 1 to Titanfall 2. The first one was a great multiplayer only experience, and then the second came out of nowhere to become one of my favourite single player campaigns of all time. I liked the PvE mode Overwatch 1 had already put in the game, so to have an entire campaign to go through with different characters in each level and the ability to level skill trees and everything else they'd shown was exactly what I wanted. Anyway, the game's out now, and there is no campaign. Yes, the campaign is still coming at some point in 2023, but that just highlights one of the absolute worst practices to come out of the gaming industry in the last few years. Companies can now release a half-finished product earlier than they intended, and as long as they slap a battle pass and a shop in it, they're almost guaranteed to make their money back. The most recent example I can think of is Halo Infinite, which nearly a year after release still doesn't have series staples like Forge or Split Screen Campaign. I don't want to go back in my day, old man here, but I do miss when early access games were basically cool concepts that the devs were proud of and wanted to get out before it was even a full game. The community would get it at a discounted rate and have some real input on the remaining development of the game. We're at a point now where AAA studios are now releasing early access games as if they're full games at a premium price. Okay, that feels like it's probably enough complaining for one video, so let's wrap things up. All in all, have I enjoyed my time with Overwatch 2? Absolutely, yeah. I loved Overwatch 1, and this is more of that. But is it enough to be called a full sequel? I don't think so. I think Blizzard themselves summed it up perfectly with their Twitter bio, Overwatch, but with a 2 this time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this take, feel free to like the video and subscribe for more content.